is Natalie Cook. I am a student at Florida Gulf Coast University in the Physical Therapy School. I am here today to talk to you about golf and the importance of stretching before playing. First thing I would like to ask is how many of you in here can honestly say that you stretch out every time before you go swing a golf club? Okay, well for those of you that do, today I'm going to talk about some of the muscles that you need to stretch specifically for your golf swing. For those of you that don't, I'm going to try to encourage you to implement a stretching program into your golf regimen. But before we get into the specifics, I'd first like to get you all up and get a little warm-up going. So one of the stretches that we will do for your stretching regimen will be arm circles. So put your arms out to the side, move them in a small circular motion forward, and then you can go backward. Do this 30 seconds to a minute. You can make the circles bigger, and this will stretch out the joint capsule that surrounds your shoulder, which is extremely important for stability and control of your arms during the golf swing, especially in impact position, which is where most injuries do occur. So what's on the agenda for today? The first thing I'm going to talk about is just a general overview of stretching and the mechanism that it has on the muscle, the importance that it can bring to your game. Then I'm going to talk about some of the common golf injuries that you will see from that repetitive stress that the golf swing is. Then I'm going to talk about the main muscle groups that you need to target when you are stretching to be effective for golf. And then I'm going to talk about the stretching to prevent injury, how this actual stretching mechanism can help prevent the tear that it can have on the muscle during that repetitive stress of the swing. And lastly, I'm going to demonstrate the golf-specific exercises that I want you to do. I'm going to first show them, and then I want to have a couple volunteers come up and work on them so I can make sure that you're doing it properly. Then I'd like to have everybody stand up and do them with me. I will be giving you at the end of class a take-home sheet to give you a guide of what I want you to do. One of my favorite quotes in golf is by one of golf's greats, Tommy Armour. He says, "Golf is an awkward set of bodily contortions designed to produce a graceful swing." Now, I know we're all aware of these awkward bodily contortions that we put ourselves into, but we're not all aware of how to get that graceful result. This is one of the benefits of stretching. It can help with that muscle activation and sequencing throughout the swing to get you going in a smooth one motion throughout the ball. So stretching, the general overview. The physiological effects is what I'm first going to talk about, and then tell you how to properly stretch, so your duration, your intensity, and your frequency, so to get the effects that we want. And lastly, the importance of stretching prior to any type of physical activity, and especially golf, because of that repetitive stress. So the physiological effects. So when you stretch a muscle, the muscle fibers are going to elongate. And when this happens, it breaks the collagen fibers in the muscle. If you hold that stretch long enough, they will realign and then have a longer lengthened muscle. So to get a permanent change, you have to make sure that you do hold this length for a long enough time to allow this to happen. Some of the other things that can happen is it can help increase your circulation, which I'll talk about later, and help get nutrients and oxygen to the active tissue. So the proper duration of a stretch. In order to get that lengthened effect, you're going to want to do this stretch for at least a minute total. You can do, as I'm recommending, 2 sets, 30 seconds each to get that minute, or you can do it one time, the full minute, whatever you prefer, but for each stretch every time before you play. Your intensity, the best way to describe it is you want to feel tightness but not pain, so no discomfort. Your frequency, you want to do this 15 to 10 minutes right before you play, so every time before you play. So if you do stretch out an hour before you play, it's not going to be as effective as if you would have done it 10 minutes beforehand. So make sure you do it before. And the reasoning is because of the importance of stretching. going to increase the circulation in the muscle fibers, and therefore it's going to increase the oxygen and nutrients in the muscle, which is very important for the muscle to contract. It's also going to increase the temperature of the muscle, so you're getting that warming up effect. So when you increase by stretching, also it's going to improve the sequencing of the muscle, like I said with Tommy Armour's quote. It's going to help you get that fluid motion, because there's viscoelastic effects and then there's neuronal effects. Your viscoelastic are the actual mechanism of the lengthening. The neural effects are helping the neuron transmission signal faster, increasing contraction speed, and getting you in that sequence of the swing, of the motion. So also, how does this prevent injury? The mechanism is when you actually strengthen the muscle and the fibers realign and you have that new stretch muscle, when you do a motion that stretches the muscle, it's going to take greater lengths and greater forces to produce a tear. So if you can imagine, if you have a short muscle and you do put a repetitive strain, lengthening it in this golf motion, you can cause this repetitive stress on the tendon and cause a tear. But if it's already in this lengthened position and you're taking it from a shorter to lengthening over and over, you're not going to produce a tear, and it's going to prevent injury as a result. Next, I'm going to talk about some of the common golf injuries you're going to see. With the golf swing, you're going to have a lot of compressive force on the back. So you're going to have a lot of low back is going to be the most common injury. The next is going to be your elbow, your wrist and hand, and your shoulder, and it's mostly at impact position. So like I said, that shoulder stretch that we did in the beginning, it's going to be very important to preventing these shoulder injuries.